YouTube vinyl community, Beach Boys fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are going to do part 2 here of answering your questions about the Beach Boys, America's favorite band. If you watched the last video, we did about 15 minutes worth of questions and answering, and I'm going to try to make it quicker on this one. There's a lot of great questions here, and then I definitely get long-winded with my answers here. But so if you missed the first one, the second one will follow the exact same premise. I've got my phone with the comments pulled up, and I'm just going random, scrolling, stopping, see one, answer it. So, ba-boom! Here we go. What do we got here? Ethan McGrory. I like that last name. I'm sorry I mispronounced it, but McGrory, very cool name. He asked me. I gotta read more here. Why he asked a bunch of questions. We'll do a handful. What are your thoughts on the Andy Paley sessions from the 90s? There's some good stuff in there. There really is. I've got a bootleg. I forget what it's called, like American Music or something. There's really good stuff in there, but my only thing about that is Brian's voice in the mid-90s always sounds like he's agitated. It always sounds like he's annoyed or something. And then magically, when he started doing the Imagination album, it sounded like Brian again. Like, it sounded like he was relaxed and he calmed down. I don't know if it's just how his voice was or his voice was changing. He would have been in his 50s at that point, early 50s. So, 50s? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that sounds right. So yeah, there's some good stuff in there. I can't think of anything off the top of my head beyond the couple of tracks that the Beach Boys helped out with. Oh my god, I'm spacing out so bad right now. I can't think. They're on the Made in California box set. I can't think what they are. Any thoughts on the Glen Campbell song, Guess I'm Dumb? Yeah, that song's cool. I like the production on it for sure. It sounds like a Brian-esque production. What do you think of the most forward-thinking Beach Boys songs? The ones that, honest to God, sound brand new to this day. I would put Slip On Through in that realm for sure. The production on that song is crazy. All I Want to Do from Sunflower sounds like chill wave. It sounds like modern chill wave. Like if you put on, what was that band? Washed Out was really popular about like 10 years ago, and they kind of helped like instate the chill wave scene for a while there. All I Want to Do can blend into one of their records pretty easily. So that album sounds pretty good. I'd also put most of Smiley Smile as a modern sounding record because so many people make bedroom pop these days that like the record sounds, obviously it was recorded mostly in a pool, but like a lot of it sounds like a bedroom record, which now they're all under quarantine, we're going to get a ton of those pretty soon. What's your favorite Beach Boys outtake? And he says, wouldn't it be nice to live again? That's a great song. I'd say Loop de Loop, the Sailplane song, is one of my favorites. 15 Big Ones kind of made the band into an oldies act, a brand that really stuck for them, even after several excellent progressive albums. What kind of record do you think the boys should have made at that time? Honestly, it's a tough call because 15 Big Ones almost feels like the record they should have made. Whether or not that's the right choice historically, that album catapulted them into the spotlight again. Granted, yes, they were doing a whole new grassroots, up-and-coming rock and roll group revival sort of thing with Sunflower, and then Surf's Up, and especially with Holland, and that live album came out. I mean, they were a whole different animal. But, I mean, they were selling out concerts, they were still doing well, and their records actually were charting pretty well. I mean, Sunflower, Surf's Up, I think hit the top 20 or top 30. Which for them at that point was damn good. I mean, that live album they put out went gold, which was like their first gold record in years. So they were on the right path. I do think 15 Big Ones helped propel them into a echelon of we're going to play big concerts forever. And if you're in a band, playing concerts is where you make your money. Back then, granted, you could sell records and still be famous, but especially these days, you know, it's almost a good thing that they have such a good touring behind them because they can still earn a paycheck. So it's a tough call because that record's definitely shaky at best. There's some great moments on it, but it definitely feels like it's I can see both ways kind of thing. I'm going to go right underneath that one to Usual Mike Television. Hey, Mike. What's your favorite album? I've never answered that on this channel. I've never once said what my favorite Beach Boys album is. I kind of don't know if I want to. I kind of like having the mystery there. Um, I'm not going to answer that one. I like that. Rarest album. My rarest Beach Boys album. Uh, I don't have a lot that's super. I mean, I do have an original Sunflower. I mean, those are kind of hard to find because no one bought it. I'd say like my rarest one is my copy of Pet Sounds that I have. Well, okay, I do have an original mono Surfing Safari with the shrink on it. It's open on the side, but it's original mono with the shrink. And I do have a Pet Sounds like that as well, mono with the shrink on it. The original sleeve is in gorgeous condition. Um, I guess those would be rare just condition wise. And he also said rarest album or one you would like to own. Uh, Honestly, I don't have Still Cruising on vinyl, so that's one I'd like to own. How many, and 45s, how many in your collection? Beach Boys 45s, I have maybe like 20. And some of those are more rare. I have a 1972 or 3 pressing of Wouldn't It Be Nice on the Brother Records label when they reissued a bunch of their stuff and got signed on to that. Their 60s catalog followed them with them. That one's pretty cool. I've got a couple copies of Wonderful from Brian Wilson Does Smile, different colored vinyl. Actually, I've got a couple picture sleeves. I have the California Girls picture sleeve, and I have the Darlin picture sleeve. That one's probably my most. Actually, now that I think about that, might be my most rare one. It's in excellent condition too. It almost looks fake because it's so good. Um, all right. So, oh, you got a little story there too. I'll read that. All right, here we go. Kaz Gerald here. What's up, Kaz? My Beach Boys question to you on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's a crying shame, 1 being you're happy they did it. So it's reverse of my review numbers. How do you feel about the adult child follow-up to Love You being shelved? Again, that era is so hard for them because there was so much good material, but also so much not so great material. And when you're in a band, you don't ultimately get to democratically say, these are all the songs we will choose, and these are all the songs we'll put on this album. There's A&R people, there's promotion people, there's your management, there's your other band members. There's a lot of cooks in that kitchen that say, I like this song, well, I like this one, I don't like that one, well, I want to put it on the album. So it's not an easy process to be in a band, especially when you're on a major label and you're getting a paycheck to do this. Like, it's really difficult to have that democracy and still be cool with each other if your favorite song didn't make it. I mean, look at Wouldn't It Be Nice to Live Again off Surf's Up. That album is void of Dennis tracks, and he was writing some great stuff at that time, so there's that one. Yeah, Adult Child, though, has some really cool stuff on it. I don't think it would have been... I know it's like you're not supposed to say stuff like this, but I don't think it would have been the album people wanted. Like, I really think Adult Child's more of a myth. Like, it's got some great stuff on it, but MIU also isn't that great. So that era for them, if they had put out something like that album, Life is for the Living and all those tracks, it may have done well for super duper hardcore fans, but I don't think it would have kept them up to date with the record buying public, kind of like Love You did. And I think after Love You's moderate success, to say that lightly, I think the other guys and the management were kind of like, well, we got to step it up a bit. We got to make this more of a selling kind of thing. So, again, I think money talks on that one. And he wrote me a huge story here. I will read that story. Scrolling. Here we got Jonathan Whitfield. He says, do you think that the Beach Boys would be held in the same light as the Beatles are now if Smile had been released in 1966? What would have been the next move? Would Brian have attempted to outdo that album, or would he have ended up making records like Wild Honey and Friends anyway? Great questions. I mean, that's the highly debated question that we've had for years, is what would have happened if Smile came out? And it's... God, I've sort of made videos just on that one topic, but I've never put them out. Um, if Smile had come out and they had played Monterey Pop Festival, the Beach Boys, as we know them, would have been a much different group. Because here's the truth. Most people, when they think of the Beach Boys, they think of the music they released between 1962 and up to Good Vibrations in 1966. Most people don't know about Sunflower, Surf's Up, Love You, Get You Back, Sail on Sailor, you name it, they don't know these tracks. They recorded a wealth of information and some of the most amazing music ever recorded that a lot of people don't know. Unless you're a hardcore fan, most people don't know this stuff. Whereas I feel like with the Beatles, you can say something. While My Guitar Gently Weeps. Taxman. I don't know why I just named 3 George songs in a row. That was completely random. But you can name random Beatles songs and people know them of the course of their entire career. So I think if Smile had come out, that would have kept the Beach Boys, and particularly Brian, into this upper level of rock aristocracy. And if they played Monterey Pop, because music changed overnight. Jimi Hendrix, The Who, Jefferson Airplane, Mamas and the Papas, Otis Redding, what a freaking show. If they were part of that group, because you gotta remember, the scene changes all the time. Even today it still changes, but back then, with rock and roll being so young, everything was on fire, and if you weren't there for the second something changed, you were done. That's why the Beatles were so great, because they stayed on top of the trends and made the trends, and they were ahead of the curve all the time, and hung it up when they realized, I think we're kind of getting tired of this. The Beach Boys were just coming into that. They were just molding themselves into a whole new creation, leaving behind the surf rock stuff, getting to more relationship songs, getting into really deeper introspective songs about life and yourself and where you're going. And then in getting into the really groovy far out stuff with Good Vibrations hitting #1, you can only keep going from there. And that's what Brian's motivation was. Good Vibrations at #1, keep that Smile train going. But I don't think Smile was going to come out. I really don't. I really think that Brian got fed up with it. I think the record label got tired of waiting for something to come out. Heroes and Villains kind of stalled, hit like #12, which is great, but compared to Good Vibrations, not so great. And things just kind of ran their course. I think Brian got worn out. You gotta remember, this is the same guy who put out like 4 or 5 albums a year, plus singles, plus touring, plus radio. He was wiped. The amount of work he did in 4 years was the amount of work that most bands do over 15 or 16 years. So he was exhausted. To answer your follow-up question, if they put out Smile, would they have done Friends and all the other stuff? Who knows? Friends was kind of made as a chill-out record, and I think Brian needed to chill out at that time, so maybe something like Friends would have happened. Boo! Scrolling. Here we go. Got some dust on my phone there. We got Tom. Tom, Tia. I like that last name. Sorry I butchered it, man. Hey Giggens, I really enjoy watching your videos. I have a few questions. Have you seen the movie Love and Mercy? If so, what are your thoughts and your scenes and moments? I love that movie. I think it was done extremely so well. It was so accurate. The whole time I watched it, I was like, okay, good. Granted, there were a few moments that weren't factual, like the way he told the guys he was leaving the band to stop touring. The way they presented it, anyway. But like the detail down to like the bed he was sleeping on. I'm wondering if that was like Brian's actual bed, because the head post on it was unfreaking believable. But yeah, the emotion that was in that movie was fantastic. I didn't feel like I was watching John Cusack. I felt like I was watching some alternate universe 80s Brian. But Paul Dano as 60s Brian was absolutely a knockout. I think he did a great job of handling that that version of Brian. Excuse me. I myself have shown it to my non-Beach Boys fans. And the Pet Sounds, Good Vibrations. Okay, yeah, gotcha. Do you have any thoughts about the other abandoned Beach Boys projects, like besides Smile, like Adult Child and Landlocked? Well, I just talked about Adult Child. Landlocked, they had so much music at that point in time that they could have put out 3 or 4 albums. And some of that stuff is pretty good and would come out over the next couple of albums. But I really think how they condensed it for Sunflower, I think is kind of what the best option for that music would have been. I still think Sailplane Song should have been a single. Here we go. We got Zapple100 says, what album do you like better, the Beach Boys 1985 or Summer in Paradise? Beach Boys 85. Yeah, simple. Should there be an HBO documentary on the Beach Boys? I think that would be awesome. I think that they're due for a really, really good documentary. The last thing we got was the one from 20 years ago. What the heck was that called? Endless Harmony. That's good, but they can deep dive into this at this point. They should do something like the Beatles anthology. They should just really like hardcore while everyone's still alive. Take the time to interview them. Make this document for the rest of the future generations of music to understand. All right, one more question because the video's getting long here. Here we go. Bradley Kramer, what's up, Bradley? He says this should be fun. What studio albums don't you own on vinyl? I don't own Summer in Paradise because I think that was only released in Taiwan, I think, or it was pressed there anyway. I don't own Still Cruisin' on vinyl. Stars and Stripes only because I don't think it was ever pressed on vinyl. And that might be it. Mostly the late 80s, early 90s stuff, because vinyl was tapering off by that point. And one more question, because we got a little bit of time left. Scrolling. McGarvey Music says, do you like the look of the Beach Boys with Fender guitars or Gibson guitars? That's a cool question, because I feel like the Fender guitars showcase their 60s surf rock sound, but the Gibsons definitely look like the early 70s Blondie and Ricky era, so they both have their merits. I like the look of the Fender. It's a really versatile guitar. It's lightweight. You can make it do a lot of different sounds. The tones on it are fantastic, so you can accomplish a lot with the Fender. But the clean, watery, cascading sound for their early surf rock days would not have been possible without the Fender. I mean, that guitar is fantastic. But the Gibson, I mean, when they were playing those in the early 70s, like, that just changed their sound for sure and made them more of a, not a harder rock band, but I think more of I think the tones they were producing were far removed from surf rock at that point, obviously, but I think the elements of what that guitar can create was of a different world, and that's what they were trying to get into, so I think that's what makes that important, so... Alright, well that's it. That's a super long video, and we're going to do a part 3, I think, just to knock these out, because I really like these questions. This has been super fun, so thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens. This has been me answering your Beach Boys questions, and I'll see you guys in part 3. Bye.